here at the farm with Poule Cherie, and this was the first test run that we did inside this drum, estimating it at about 1,500 gallons of water that it will hold. And basically it was just a really basic process. Built it up on top of a hill, have a basic little form of system here that we can just open it up and allow the water to drain out when you go through and need to change the water every time that you do the catfish. But basically we were able to raise 500 catfish inside this tank. And then the farmers that work here for Poule Cherie were able to come by and just give them food every other day or every 3 days. And with the catfish being in this tank, after 5 months, they were ready for harvest. So they usually went to market on about the 6th month they were at the market. But this is a very crude setup without being concerned about a water filtration system or trying to keep the water perfectly clean and all that. We found here it really wasn't even necessary to have to do that. So the basic logistics of it was being able to find these very large containers. Anywhere we could do 1,000 gallon or a 1,500 gallon like this, and then just cutting a hole in the side with your basic PVC fittings and couplers and whatnot. And basically whenever they go to drain it, they can just unthread literally right here, take this off, and let the water just drain right on out. One of the things that we're working on at present is the ability that then whenever you drain the water out, as long as it's still pretty good and usable, it could be reusable for the garden space that's out here. A lot of citrus trees, a lot of vegetables. Right now there's not a whole lot of things that are planted in the garden because we're kind of waiting on the rain season. Because if you don't have a lot of rain, then you have to purchase a lot of fuel to run the generator to draw the water out of the ground, and so that can get quite costly. But basically to do this one, we just found a high slope, a little bit of a dirt mound, recessed it in the ground ever so slightly, dumped 500 baby catfish in there and just made sure they were fed, and it was very successful at the market. So really our largest cost is going to be the cost of these large bins. And then of course finding somebody that has a truck big enough to then get them to wherever we need to, whether it be at this farm or a new farm that we are really hoping to be able to purchase to set these things up. And amazingly enough, by the time if we got enough of these going, we would be able to pay for the kids to be able to go to school every year, and they would be very profitable throughout a whole year because you can actually do it twice in 1 year. So first 500, 6 months later, you're selling those at the market, you're replenishing with 500 more catfish, and so it's just a good cycle that produces like a residual income inside of itself. And this is one of the things, the numbers that I've ran has turned out to be extremely profitable for Poule Cherie and Exodus House and all of the Hope Gates. So this is the crudest way that we've been able to do it with very little cost except for the food. So, and once we get time to kind of sit down, we've got a lot going on at the farm right now. We'll sit down and we'll talk about the numbers and the prices and things like that. But this is it in its rudest element that we can possibly imagine. I realize some people might think that this isn't really going to work, but it did. It did work, and it did bring in a very good profit for the orphanage and for Exodus House and Poule Cherie. So
we can sell to market and we can eat at the orphanage. We used to grow this here and another. We can grow some peppers.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is just some of the remnant. This is just some of the remnants that was left over. Right now we're kind of in the dry season, waiting for the rain season. But there's just another form of pepper that they can both eat at the orphanage and also sell at the market and make money off of it. There's about 17 hectares of land that's here. And so a lot of it has to continually be cultivated. And it's very elementary. The tools are your basic wide hoe that they just use to make the rows, and you can see where they've kind of done it down here a little bit more. And basically they'll just get water for different trees or plants that they're trying to keep alive and just carry it down here. So this is one that has recently just been a little bit more cultivated, obviously getting it ready in the rows to get going. But all of the trees and everything have an important value.
Bay leaves.
Berries.
Bay leaves.
Bay leaves.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is bay leaves that they're growing wild. This is like a citrus tree. But every... Oranges, yeah. And so every area of this farm is cultivated. The last time we were here, this whole section right here, even past some of those citrus trees that you see, was nothing but tomato plants. And then all the way up there, that side of that field up there that's green, all of that was peppers, multiple different types of peppers. Spicy, not so spicy. So this is just kind of giving a better overview of the land and of the farm. And in terms of tools and equipment and stuff, this is basically what they make all their rows with right here. Just be that basic hoe and just getting at it. So one of the main things to a farm is being able to get the right land where you have access to water. And there is a well on this farm. Just anytime they want regular water, they have to go to it, they have to pay, go into town, purchase fuel, bring the fuel back, put it in a generator to run a pump, and then the pump pumps it up out of the well, and then they're able to get everything going. But right now, times have been really tough for Pulcherie and for everything, so even giving the extra money to be able to go into town and buy fuel just to run a generator has been hard. And so we need that help, that type of help here. But in terms of knowing how to grow it and what to grow and how to grow, they are very efficient at all of that. So we just wanted to make sure that we gave a really clearer look of what we have going on out here. So this will begin to draw interest because we need help. So, you know what I mean?
So it's 5 months and then you can take them to
About
market.
5 to 6 months is about how long it takes to grow the cat.
They can
Yeah.
go to market. If
Right.
you want for them to be big enough, you can
Yeah.
wait like 7 months, 8 months.
Okay.
Then they are big enough and they can be set up with a good price.
Yeah.
Yes. What we do now, we wait for 9 months, and our catfish was very big.
Right.
After 9 months, they were
Yes.
very big.
But you were
Yeah.
able to feed the kids at the orphanage with it?
Yes,
For
we
how
give
long?
some at the orphanage, and we just sell some because people want to buy, and we
Yeah.
sell some.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. So the plan would be 3 of those.
No, way more than that.
Well, at least 3. That was our original. That's what we had just talked about, was starting out with 3. If we could get 3 going.
I want to go straight to 8.
Well, yeah, because then it would completely feed the orphanage. It would bring in enough money to continually refill the catfish and grow them again and sell them and grow them and sell them and grow them. And the money would continually provide for the children to go to school
Yeah.
and to feed them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why the number, whenever I ran it, if we do it in that one, the black bin, which is a little bit easier than, we can give an example over here of a big concrete one, mason block that we were talking about doing. Mm-hmm. But if we go to these and we do 8 of those, then that'll get the numbers right to where Pulcherie will have money to continue to feed them, to buy more catfish.
Keep it going.
Keep it going, and kids be to go to school. And then the second round would be straight profit, aside from the food that would be needed for 6 or 9 months, and then purchasing new catfish. I mean, it could be as profitable here for Pulcherie as $25,000 each time.
The catfish, if we did 8 of them, that would completely sustain the orphanage and the children.
I don't know that it would completely sustain, because you're not necessary. You would be, if you did it every 6 months, it could make the right money at market. You could afford for all the kids to go to school for 1 year. But then if you did the second round and it took 6 months, then that second round, right, you'd be reinvesting to do your third round of catfish and the food for 6 months. Then that would be about $22,000 to $23,000 profit that then could straight go to the orphanage. And that, if you kept it going and could keep it going, that would be every year.
Yeah, but that
Right.
money would help feed them. It costs almost
Yes.
$500 a day
Yes.
to feed the children
Yes,
at the
it would.
orphanage.
It would.
That includes the workers and everybody
Yeah.
that lives there.
I keep hearing God say, catfish, 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 get that going, get that sustained, because that will be a constant source of revenue that regenerates itself, right? And then it's going to help with finances at the farm. It's going to help with finances in other areas. And as we get all the individual areas kind of self-sustaining, then everything's going to begin to prosper and come up, you know? And I know that that's Pulcherie's heart too, but this fails over here, so it actually takes away from over here, that takes away from over here, but if you can then begin to get those things self-sustaining, it'll be profitable. So
Yep.
that's the goal. Rather than Americans just writing a check for a need, we're here for sustainability and economic influence. That's the main goal here. You writing $1,000 check, yeah, we'll take it. We'll take a $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 check. But if more people would get involved in these projects that we have that causes sustainability, then now we have economic influence versus always having our hand out asking for you to give us money. So, and there's another deal over here that we were looking at possibly doing, which was building big chicken houses and being able to put up massive chicken houses with what, like 2,000 chickens in it. And what
We can sell eggs.
yeah.
Then after all that, sell the chicken and buy another chicken.
Right. And so not just to sell the eggs at market, but then the kids' diet can change and they can begin to have eggs and then selling all these extra eggs. We're talking about EGs for those of you that might know something about chickens. We're talking about EGs, egg layers. And that's a very simple process. And then if you want to reproduce your own chickens, you can bring in the rooster, as we all know. But it's more profitable to purchase the chickens, produce a bunch of eggs for a long time, and then sell the chickens at market. And then that is renewable. That's yet another thing that's renewable, and obviously there's enough land to do that. 17 hectares plays out to about 23 to 24 acres of U.S. land. So if you can imagine, we've got a really good, no, it's actually a lot more than that. It's
27 or 28.
yeah, it's actually a lot more than that. I'm sorry, whatever 17 hectares is, we can do the math on that later, but this is a renewable thing. However, we're in the process of trying to look at a farm to purchase elsewhere that will be just Pulcheries and nobody can come in and do anything. This was your aunt's farm at one point, and she's allowed Pulcherie to use it, but they were beginning to see how good it was and how much they've been able to do on this land, and they're going, oh, we might want our land back. And so we're very weary of investing very much more here, thinking they would want to keep it. That's why it's a good idea for these catfish ponds that we're wanting to get, these big black tubs, to be movable. So if we did bring them in here and then she came in and said, I want my land back, well, guess what? They get to go with us. The goats go with us. The pigs go with us. The chickens go with us. All the rabbits go with us. The ducks go with us. And so getting that other piece of land and that farm is going to be a really big deal, because then it will be just Pulcheries and
So she has
the
a
Hope
land?
Gates. No, she's looking at land that she wants to purchase.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.